The clock on my desktop glowed a defiant 2 o'clock in the morning. Outside, the world was silent, but inside my virtual machine, a universe of possibilities was buzzing. This is a familiar scene for anyone who has ever been captivated by cybersecurity. You start with one simple goal, maybe to practice a technique or test a script. And hours later, you find yourself deep down a rabbit hole you never anticipated. My companion for the night was Kali Linux, the digital Swiss Army knife for penetration testers. It's a system I know well, or so I thought. That night, however, I wasn't focused on the usual suspects like Metasploit and Nmap. A nagging curiosity took hold. What else is in here? Kali is famous for its vast collection of tools, neatly organized into categories like information gathering, vulnerability analysis. Most of us stick to the top 10 or 20 most popular applications, but Kali is an iceberg. The tools we see on the surface are just a fraction of what lies beneath. Fueled by coffee and an insatiable desire to learn, I decided to go digging. My first step was to move beyond the polished application menu that everyone sees. The Kali menu is fantastic for beginners. It organizes everything into logical categories, but it doesn't show you everything. Some tools are command line only and don't have a graphical icon. To find the real secrets, you have to get your hands dirty in the terminal. I started with a simple command. I typed ls/usr/bin and hit enter. The screen filled with a massive scrolling list of file names, overwhelming, like reading a phone book in a foreign language. Then I piped it through a pager, ls/usr/bin vertical bar less, and scrolled slowly. I wasn't searching for anything specific. I just scanned for names that looked interesting or unfamiliar. Fern, Wi-Fi, Cracker, Sparta, Dmitry. They weren't the household names of pen testing. When a name grabbed me, I tried to learn more. The man pages are a Linux user's best friend. I typed man Fern Wi-Fi Cracker, nothing. Next, I typed the tool name directly into the terminal to see what happened. The process is simple and iterative. List, investigate, and test. The name Fern Wi-Fi Cracker was the first to truly grab my attention. It sounded straightforward, but I had never seen it in the main wireless attacks menu alongside giants like Aircrack. Intrigued, I typed Fern Wi-Fi Cracker into my terminal and pressed enter. I half expected a usage guide or an error, but instead my screen flickered and a graphical window popped up. It was a simple, almost dated-looking interface, but it was clean and user-friendly. The application immediately detected my wireless adapter and presented me with a prominent scan for access points button. A pleasant surprise. A GUI-based tool hidden away from the main menus. Fern Wi-Fi Cracker isn't a new cracker itself, it's a graphical front end for air cracking. Air cracking is powerful but command line only. Multiple terminal windows and long commands can overwhelm beginners. Arrow dump airplay air cracking. Fern wraps that workflow in a clickable interface. It automates. Scanning, capturing handshakes, launching dictionary attacks. Interface steps, select interface, scan for networks. Nearby access points appear. WEP, WPA, WPA2. List shows signal strength and BSS ID. Select the network to audit. The tool then guides you through the rest. To understand how a tool like Fern works, it's essential to use it in a safe and controlled environment. It is illegal and unethical to test, scan, or attack any network that you do not own or have explicit written permission to audit. For this reason, my laboratory is my own home network. My target for this demonstration was my own guest Wi-Fi network, which I had set up with a simple known password for testing purposes. Following the steps in the Fern interface, I first selected my wireless adapter, which I had put into monitor mode. This is a special mode that allows the Wi-Fi card to listen to all traffic in the air, not just the traffic addressed to it. I clicked the attack button, and within seconds, a message at the top of the window flashed, WPA handshake captured. After a few moments, the tool proudly displayed the cracked password on the screen, feeling emboldened by my success with Fern until another one caught my eye. Sparta. The name evoked images of efficiency and relentless attack. Just like before, a new graphical window appeared. It was a dashboard. Sparta immediately presented me with a dialog box asking me to specify a target or a range of IP addresses to scan. It became clear that this was a tool designed for reconnaissance and initial enumeration. Experienced pen testers often do this with a series of tools. Nmap for port scanning, Nikto for web server vulnerability scanning, Hydra for brute force login testing. Sparta's purpose, I realized, was to automate and streamline this entire process. It acts as a conductor for an orchestra of other powerful Kali tools. When you give it a target, it doesn't just run a single scan. The real power of Sparta is that it takes the output from all these different tools and organizes it in one central place. My final discovery of the night came from a name that was short and simple, Dmitry. The name itself gave no clues, so I turned to my trusted friend, the man command. Typing man Dmitry brought up a full manual page. The description was clear and concise. Dmitry, or Deep Magic Information Gathering Tool. This was a pure command line-based reconnaissance tool. Dmitry is a passive and active information gathering tool. For example, a who is lookup to find registration details, an IP lookup to resolve addresses, a netcraft search to show server tech and hosting history, a subdomain search to find subdomains, an email search to list associated addresses. For example, DmitryWincioTarget.com. Here's the Dmitry output showing a who is lookup and a subdomain search on a test domain. What makes a tool like Dmitry so powerful is its speed and focus. It's a scalpel for the early stages of reconnaissance. Before you launch a heavy-duty scanner like Nmap or Sparta, you can use Dmitry to get a quick lay of the land. Finding subdomains like dev.target.com or test.target.com. Finding email addresses can give you a list of potential targets for a password spraying attack. Dmitry is a testament to the power of simple, focused command line tools, and honestly, it was the perfect final discovery for my late-night expedition. This journey of discovery is exciting, but it comes with a massive, flashing warning sign. The tools I found, from Fern to Sparta to Dmitry, are not toys. They are professional instruments designed for security auditing. In the hands of a knowledgeable and ethical professional, they find and fix weaknesses. However, in the wrong hands, or used recklessly, these tools can cause immense harm. The line between ethical hacking and illegal activity is crystal clear. You must never, ever cross it. The most important rule is permission. You cannot scan, test, attack, or run information gathering tools like Dmitry against systems you don't own or have written permission to test. Doing so is illegal in most places. It can be considered a crime, digital trespassing, or breaking into someone's house. Consequences can be severe. Losing your internet access, hefty fines, even jail time. Ignorance of the law is not a defense. I was just curious will not protect you. Even on your own systems, you must understand the risks. Running an aggressive vulnerability scan or a brute force attack can have unintended consequences. You could accidentally crash a service, lockout user accounts, or generate so much traffic you slow or disable your network. This is why a dedicated, isolated lab is critical. The knowledge you gain comes with responsibility. The thrill I felt discovering these tools at 2 a.m. is something anyone can experience. Kali Linux is a vast and wonderful playground, but you must play safely. If you're a beginner eager to start your own journey of discovery, the most important first step is to set up a safe lab environment. Do not install Kali Linux as your main operating system. Instead, download virtualization software VirtualBox, free VMware player. Then, download the official Kali Linux virtual machine image and run it inside the virtualization software. This keeps Kali completely separate from your main computer. Once you have Kali running in a virtual machine, your next step is to get some safe targets. Never, ever point these tools at Google, your neighbor's Wi-Fi, any other public system. Instead, download intentionally vulnerable virtual machines. Metasploitable to OWASP broken web apps vulnhub.com. Vulnhub hosts hundreds of user-created vulnerable VMs to practice on. By running these targets and VMs on the same host, you can create a private internal network where your Kali machine can legally and safely practice its skills. With your lab set up, you can begin your exploration. Don't just stick to the main menu. Open the terminal and use the ls/usr/bin command just like I did. Scroll through the list and look for names that seem interesting. When you find one, use the man command like man nmap to read its manual. If there's no manual, try running the command with help. This simple process of discovery and research is the single most important skill you can develop in cybersecurity. Be patient, be methodical, and take notes on what you find. Finally, remember that the goal is to learn, not just to click buttons. When you use a tool like Sparta, don't just watch it work. Look at the commands it's running in the log window. Try to run those same commands yourself in a separate terminal to understand what they do. When Fern captures a handshake, research what a WPA handshake actually is and why it's a critical part of the authentication process. True mastery comes from understanding the underlying principles, not just from operating a tool. Stay curious, stay safe, and have fun exploring. The next great discovery might be just one command away. Use that skill for good. Help people secure their systems, don't exploit weaknesses. Participate in bug bounties. The hacker mindset is curiosity and problem solving, not malice and destruction. Never forget that.